Sunday, September 18th marks the start of Banned Books Week. It's the annual celebration of the freedom to read, and it's a week-long event sponsored by organizations dedicated to the free expression. Today we'll take a look at 3 books that have not only been banned and challenged, but have changed Black history. Let's get into it. We've spoken a bit on this channel about book bans, like in this video, which details everything you need to know about bans and challenges, including a few things you may have been too embarrassed to ask, and in this video, where we cover some books that are quintessential reads. But we've not yet talked about Banned Books Week. It's an annual campaign that celebrates the freedom to read and draws awareness to ban and challenge books and highlights persecuted individuals. It's promoted by the American Library Association and Amnesty International and typically held during the last full week in September. Since 1982, these orgs have been stressing the importance of ensuring that the viewpoints from authors that are unorthodox or unpopular are available to anyone who chooses to read these works so that they can develop their own opinions and conclusions about the messages in those books. During the week, there are events like readouts held by bookstores and libraries, panel discussions with librarians and authors, and even a virtual banned books exhibit held in Second Life. Yes, you heard me correct, and we're not even going to talk about it. I'll leave a link down in the description box if that's your thing. Most of the books banned these days fall into the category of morality, whereas we used to see a lot of books banned because of political or religious reasons. Reading banned books is important because the works that are banned and challenged in modern times are often those written by and about the lived experiences of oppressed groups, whether real or fictionalized. Not only that, but banning books that speak openly about marginalized experiences ignores all the people living their actual lives in those realities. Today, I want to chat about the realities of Black people. Books by banned authors are among the most frequently banned. They tell important stories of survival in the South during slavery, Black struggle against segregation, and the ongoing battle for racial justice. The first book on the list is Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. It was published in 1952 and is the only book by Ellison that was published within his lifetime. The book addresses many of the social issues experienced by Black people and their struggle with personal identity, racial standards, and the invisibility of Black identity. It starts out with the narrator's description of him living in the basement of a building for free, and that the building was limited to rent only to white people. His living condition is a reminder to him of his complications with his social invisibility of trying to be an established Black man in a white empowered society. He states that he's not invisible because he lives underground away from the rest of the world, but simply because most people refuse to see him, and because as a Black man, he bestows very little to no importance to others. This book really shows that as Black people, it's not unusual for us to experience a sensation that we don't exist in the real world at all. Invisible Man won the U.S. National Book Award for Fiction in 1953, making Ellison the first African-American writer to win the award. Yet given all that, it's been challenged for its lack of literary value. Next on the list is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. It was published in 1982 and focuses primarily on the life of Celie, a young girl who suffers extreme emotional and physical abuse from her father. She's the twice survivor of incest and later is forced into an abusive and loveless marriage, but as she gets older and gains wisdom and insight, she's able to fight back and leave her husband. Inspiration for the novel came from Walker's personal experiences. Even though The Color Purple is fictional, events and characters were loosely based on what she knew about her ancestry. For instance, she recounted that her grandmother was murdered by a man who wanted to be her lover, which insinuates that the love was unrequited. And this is similar to what we see Celie experience in the novel. Walker ultimately saw The Color Purple as a way to connect with her ancestors. The book has been consistently challenged and banned by libraries across the nation, mostly with criticism for its harsh depiction of Black men. It was adapted into a feature film in 1985, which was directed by Steven Spielberg, and adapted into a Broadway musical, which won a Tony Award in 2016. The book won the Pulitzer Prize as well as the National Book Award, making Alice Walker the first Black woman to win either honor. Lastly, we have the autobiography of Malcolm X. You might see on some, if not all covers, a subtitle that reads, "As Told to Alex Henry." The reason for that is because the book was actually a collaboration between the civil and human rights activist Malcolm X and the journalist and later author Alex Haley. Haley co-authored the autobiography based on a series of in-depth interviews conducted between 1963 and Malcolm X's 1965 assassination. It recounts the life of Malcolm X, from his traumatic childhood plagued by racism, to his years as a drug dealer and pimp, to his conversion conversion to the Black Muslim faith while in prison for burglary, to his subsequent years of militant activism, and then to the turn late in his life to more orthodox Islam. The book highlights the complexity, compassion, and humanity of Malcolm X, and without it, his public image might have otherwise remained monolithic and negative. Alex Haley was a self-taught writer who was determined to make a name for himself. After years of hard work and obscurity, he broke into mainstream publications like Reader's Digest, Harper's, and the New York Times Magazine. In 1962, he sold an interview with jazz musician Miles Davis to Playboy, and that began the magazine's famous interview series. Later that year, Playboy commissioned Haley to interview Malcolm X. This led to the autobiography of Malcolm X, which was Haley's first book. It's been banned mostly on personal and ideologically based prejudices. Objectors have called Malcolm X's philosophy on Black pride, Black nationalism, and Pan-Africanism a how-to manual for crime and have denounced the book for its anti-white statements. Still, it sold more than 5 million copies and has changed the nation's opinion of the Black nationalist leader. If they're open to it, books have the power to give folks an opportunity to open their minds and to think differently, for them to have greater empathy for others, to understand and reflect on history and how that underscores things that need to change today and in the future. Who would have ever thought that an activity as mundane as reading could also be an act of rebellion?